welcome. You've joined us live at the grand final of the William Hill Grand Slam of Darts. Brought to you by the Professional Darts Corporation, live on Sky Sports, and coming to you from the Civic Hall, Wolverhampton! 32 players came and only 2 remain. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, right now, here we go! Introducing to you, he's the former UK Open champion from Scotland, the Thorn, Robert Thornton! 100 titles worldwide. He is the record-breaking, history-making, 16 times the champion of the world. It's Phil, the Power Taylor.
100,000 first prize for the winner. England against Scotland, the final of the 2013 William Hill Grand Slam of Darts. If you enjoyed the darts so far, let us know your thoughts. How's this one going to go? As Sky Sports Darts, as the crowd erupt into a chorus of one Phil Taylor. Well, Phil Taylor major televised title number 69. Commentators Wayne Mardle and Stuart Pike.
Dave, it doesn't get much better than this. Unbelievable atmosphere inside the Civic Hall in Wolverhampton. And they, like you watching at home, have come to see something special. Will it get any better than what we witnessed this afternoon with one of the greatest games ever, as Phil Taylor beat Adrian Lewis in the semi-finals? And can Robert Thornton beat the seemingly unbeatable in Philip Taylor?
Well, we've kind of been there with Robert before. Can he beat him in the final at the UK Open 2012? And he did. And he was seemingly unbeatable then. Phil Taylor, every now and again, puts in a performance that is substandard for him. Still very good for everyone else. And we see the match odds there, 1 to 12. So you have to put on £12 to get 13 back. You've got to be silly to do that, especially when he's playing the likes of Robert Thornton. Robert is a proven winner. As I just said, a UK Open champ, and he's a former world master. Beaten Phil in the Premier League as well, the Grand Prix. He's the real deal, Robert Thornton. And the good thing about him, with it being a long day, when he played Scott Waits earlier on today in the semi-finals, he'd done a good number on him, played well, but didn't seem to be overzealous in celebrations and just got the job done. He had 101 average. If he has 101 average in this match, he will come close to winning.
135.
Well, a big call from Wayne Martin. Let's see what Robert Thornton can do. As mentioned, will hold no fear. Has to get into this final early. Has to stay with Phil Taylor, as he did in the UK Open final at Bolton. And then he produced a golden spell of Tungsten, very much akin to what we saw from Taylor against Lewis earlier today in the semi-finals, when he won 8 consecutive legs from 8-7 down. But you know what? He just so relaxed. As Robert Thornton was about to enter the arena for his walk-on, you were making your way down from the stage. Phil Taylor came in here and sat in that very seat and was chatting about what he's going to do for the next couple of weeks. So relaxed.
Well, that wasn't a relaxed dart, but yeah, he has been all week, Phil. Mind you, wouldn't you be if you were cleaning up at the sport that you love this year? What a year it's been. For the power. This man on his day is some competitor.
140.
And there we see the throwing arm of Robert Thornton. Full extension. It's a must in professional darts.
43.
Well, only 43, so what a chance here for Thornton. Opening leg. Bullseye for a storming start.
96.
Will he return? Will he be back?
138. 60. Looking now for a treble 20 still. Taylor is throwing
55.
some wayward tungsten.
25.
9, double 8 for the first leg. Well, he's going 17 for double 4.
You're going to beat Phil Taylor in a major final. You can't miss darts like that.
Rod Harrington, myself and Dave Clark were just not 5 minutes ago saying Robert has to hit his doubles. You can't give this man a chance, because normally takes it.
58.
Edgy.
Both of them, edgy, nervy, tungsten tension. We're only in the first leg.
Well, I think double one's a good double for Robert.
To score.
Wayne's missed 6 darts to break Taylor
25.
in the opening leg of the Grand Slam final. Will he pay a hefty price?
Will he pay?
17.
No, he will not.
Robert, you require 2.
Robert Thornton wants the madhouse, and it's right next to double top, and he loves double top, idolises double top.
No score.
Early nerves,
Still you require
no
8.
question.
Astonishing, astonishing. 9 darts to break the Taylor throw. Now he's hurting. Now he is hurting. Do you know what? It may only be the first leg of this final, but that might be just very, very significant.
There's nothing worse than you've waited so long for a game to happen.
45.
You're thinking, right, I want to get off to a good start, and then after the first leg, you're already ruining misses, and that leads into maybe the next leg. Robert Thornton starts 45. He's got to get this leg on the board, otherwise he's just fighting and fighting all the way. It's no good.
Well, his finishing in the main has been excellent during the Grand Slam, but that was just, I think, down to nerves
60.
and the pressure of the situation in the final. I think knowing that he had to get it increased the pressure on him, and he kept missing.
Well, Robert, I don't know if you were watching like I was, but as Phil was throwing, he was blowing his hands as if being maybe a bit sweaty, a bit clammy. Not conducive to throwing
55.
top quality tungsten.
Well, it's the nightmare start. The nightmare start for Robert Thornton.
I really was just thinking that this is exactly that. Even though there's only one leg gone and 9 darts gone. It's in doubles, it can ruin the rest of your game.
90.
It's human nature that it will weigh heavy on your mind, especially in a final, especially against Taylor.
I can't see Phil letting Robert off this leg.
98.
Unless he can hit 180, which will make him feel better. He needs a relaxer. He needs something to happen just so he can think, right, I'm away now. He needs a 180. That's what he needs.
140.
Keeps the pressure on.
76.
At least it is right behind Phil now. In the leg. I know he threw first, but he's had a bit of a nightmare.
Game showing the second leg. Phil Taylor. Third leg. Phil to throw first.
Ominous.
Game on.
In their last 10 meetings between these two, it's 5 wins each. That's how good Robert Thornton is. He's not scared of Phil Taylor, that's for sure. But I think you might have got it, you might have hit the nail on the edge, Stu, when you said it's a situation.
$100.
53 years of age, Phil Taylor. Better than ever?
I'm not going to say he's not, put it that way. The standard at what he's throwing, well, that he threw this afternoon, I've never seen the like. I've seen him average higher, but never been pushed like that. And all what he's won this year, yeah, who can argue? Yes, I'm going to say he is a better player than he was last year.
92.
He's just been so dominant, he really has. Especially over the longer format competitions like this. Robert Thornton in trouble in this leg. Got to win a leg before the first break, Stu.
Well, that first leg of the final has set the tone for Thornton.
99.
I'm afraid, so far. And Taylor here, a sloppy opening leg by his standards, beginning to put the pedal to the floor.
Game showing the third leg.
Now, we're not overplaying this when we say that this is such an important leg for Robert Thornton. You cannot go into the first break 5-0. Yes, it's a longer format, first to 16. It is a long format, but you can't get 5-0 behind. Not against Phil Taylor. He will just run riot. Massive leg for Robert Thornton.
Leg one of the final, he misses 9 darts to break Taylor. And he hasn't recovered. He hasn't recovered, Wayne.
100.
You said he hasn't recovered, and he hasn't. 81 average. He knows that that is nowhere near good enough to maybe even take 3 or 4 legs off the power. This is a must-win leg. Got to hit at least a ton or 140.
Blocked it.
91.
Important last dart for Robert Thornton.
Phil Taylor loves the situation where he thinks,
140.
I've got you already. I know I've got you. All I've got to do is finish you off. And right at this moment, he's not far away from finishing Robert Thornton off.
100.
The crowd right behind Taylor.
121.
Totally focused. Irresistible. Bullseye for another one.
82. What will you require?
Wayne, this has to go, I think.
Wants the 60 for single 10 for tops. There's the 60. Come on, Robert. 10. Sorry for being biased, but I want him to win this leg. Double top.
90. Phil, we require 39.
Another chance spurned.
Astonishing from the power. It's 4-0. And Robert Thornton already in big trouble in this final. In the past, we've seen Phil Taylor win a final here, allowing Scott Waits only 2 legs, allowing Gary Anderson only 4 legs in Grand Slam finals.
100.
Well, there you have it. I did say that the position and situation was dire for Robert Thornton. Just 10 minutes ago, he was just over a 6-1 shot. Phil Taylor was 1-12. Now he's 1-100. I said for every £12 you get, you win 13. Now for every £100 you put on, you get 101 back. Robert Thornton, as far as the bookies are concerned, there's no way back. As long as he doesn't believe that, then we've got a match on. But right now, Phil Taylor's average is on the rise. Robert Thornton's is just loitering around the low 80s.
A big call for you, but has this final ultimately, ridiculously, been decided by the very first leg?
So far, yes. So far. Things could change. It's going to be down to this man throwing now to pull out probably some of the darts that he may never have thrown before in longer spells as well. I don't just mean 3 or 4 legs, I could mean half a dozen, maybe a dozen. Because Phil Taylor won't relent, we know that.
100.
Well, we remember, don't we, the pain that he inflicted on Dave Chisnall in the final of the World Grand Prix in Dublin. Relentless, ruthless.
97.
And the pain he inflicted on Adrian Lewis in the final of the Masters. 10-1. Treble 12. Now that leaves the bullseye. Bullseye!
56.
Robert, gotta go, my man.
Robert, you require
60 tops. Said he needs a settler. Something to make him think that he's in this match. Well, when you think he's going for tops, that was wayward.
60. Phil, we require 25.
Double 8. Double 4 for Taylor, last dart in hand.
21. Robert, you require 40.
He looks like he can't believe that he's got a chance. Phil missed, are you kidding me? Come on, get it, he's saying. Tops! Don't make a drama out of this. He's making a drama out of this. Gotta go. Double 10, got to go. This is a darting disaster.
4.
Double 2. Well, if Phil Taylor has his way, it's going to turn into a darting rout. The final of the Grand Slam. Robert Thornton enduring a nightmare. Phil Taylor already 5-0 in front.
If you're a complete gambler of sorts and a complete novice of darts betting, you could have backed Phil Taylor to win 16-0 at odds of 400 to 1. It's not seeming so folly now, is it?
Game on.
Well, Thornton needs to find something very special from somewhere here. 9 darts to win the opening leg. The game changer.
Right, let's split this match down. Now what he has to do, because the players will play it in segments of 5, little mini sessions of 5. Win this session 3-2. Start with that. Whatever he does, he cannot lose this mini session. If he can pull 4-1 out, that'd be great. 5-0, obviously, will be superb, but cannot lose this session. That is paramount. He's got the dart, so he'll be thrown first 3 times.
100 Thornton.
Phil Taylor's last defeat in a TV major on the 5th of July when he lost to Ronnie Huybrechts 10-5 in the second round at the European Championship in Germany. Robert Thornton finally has something to be happy about, to be pleased about. He's got a chance to win a leg. He's had many chances before.
Robert, you require 81.
Gets the 57. Now double 12. Robert
Robert
Thornton is off the mark with a little 11-dart leg as well.
Game on.
That will make him feel better.
Yeah, much needed, much needed. We all want to see a close,
96.
tight, contested final. Yeah, that defeat to Huybrechts, since then he's won the World Match Play, the Sydney Masters, the World
60.
Grand Prix, the Masters in Edinburgh, and of course the Championship League darts, the behind closed doors internet tournament. Unbeatable since July.
Oh, he's had hell of a lot of luck since then. Come on.
134.
Right, Robert, after winning his first leg, doesn't just want to give it away, wants to kick on.
The way we talk about that first leg, also the 5th leg, the 2 legs that Thornton has had
83.
great chances to win have both been on the Taylor throw.
Feel well in control of this leg. As I said, if Robert Thornton can win 3 legs when he's thrown first, go into the next break 7-3, and then win the next session after that, baby steps. If you think of it in its entirety, it can become a bit much and a bit overwhelming. What Phil Taylor wants to do here is to leave a 2-darter.
100.
And he done just that. A 180 now. Make Phil at least think about it.
£100,000 for the winner.
45.
Taylor chasing a
Phil, you require
5th
72.
Grand Slam title in 7 years.
Double 16 for 6-1.
40.
Robert, not even in the same district. 2-5-3.
Taylor hasn't been at his best, has he, in the final? But let's be honest, he hasn't needed to be. You always feel that if pushed, he's got 3 or 4 more gears. Start in hand again. 6-1. Taylor in control of the Grand Slam final.
Must-win leg for the Thorn. Got to get a treble.
60.
Oh dear. Will he be punished? A ton's not punishment, 140's punishment.
The ultimate hand-to-eye coordination. Just total frustration for Robert Thornton. Yeah, those last 2 finals, you mentioned the Masters when he beat Lewis 10-1, lost 1 leg. He lost only 2 legs in winning 6 sets, didn't he, in the
60.
Grand Prix final in Dublin last month.
Robert dodged a bullet there with Phil only hitting 60. Got to get another treble. It's making life so hard for himself.
125.
A bit more pace to the board. One thing's for sure, Robert he's not the type to think, oh, this is beyond me. He's not like that.
96.
So if he can just hang about, at least make Phil work for it. Now 180. 180. He's snatching, he's pulling, the rhythm is not there.
UK Open final, beat Taylor last year, World Grand Prix, last year beat Taylor. He's also beaten Taylor in the Premier League this year.
140.
But he needs to produce arguably the best performance of his life if he wants to beat Taylor in the Grand Slam final from here.
Brilliant start, 16. The tops. Yes! Is that a time turner? Well, Phil smiled for a millisecond. I think he forgot where he was. Brilliant from Robert Thornton. Character as well, Stu.
97.
Is this the leg? Is this the moment? Can he break the Taylor throw? Can he somehow win this session 4-1 and get himself back in the final? That's what he's got to believe.
60.
Well, that doesn't help, does it? And when you have lost a session 5-2, it was 2 breaks, that's all. But the thing is that when you're 2 breaks behind this man, it can sometimes seem impossible to get back. So every little squeak, every little opportunity you get, you find yourself making a meal of. You're thinking, right, come on. And you do try too hard, and when you do that, you don't relax. Counterproductive.
Well, you may remember Taylor has already beaten Thornton in a TV final way back in 2009 at the Circus Tavern Players' Championship.
58.
Same distance, Taylor won 16-9.
That's a good marker. Well, he's all round it, Robert. They just won't go in with that at the moment.
100.
That one did. Keeps him just about a dart in front. Well, not quite a dart. Well, in fact, it doesn't keep him anywhere near the front.
102.
With perfect timing from the power.
Phil will require 66.
So often Robert has put a 20 above the 60, a 20 below. Double 16.
50.
Higher wonder.
Robert, you require 100.
The first dart goes in the 60. You've got to fancy him to get a dart at double 19. I fancy him to get a dart at double 19. Oh, Robert, he knows. He knows that was an opportunity missed.
134. Phil, you require 60.
It was the perfect lie as well.
Game shot.
Irrelevant. Academic.
Phil Taylor.
7-2.
Robert, the throw first.
Wins this leg.
Game on.
He wins the mini session 3-2. Then if he can win Phil's session 3-2 in the legs that Phil throws, the 5 legs Phil throws first, then the gap has closed again. It is a marathon, not a sprint.
60.
The thing is that when you give someone like Phil Taylor a 5-0 head start, you're making life just slightly more difficult for yourself.
James Wade, we remember, was 9-2 down against Phil Taylor in the quarterfinals. To be fair, in the knockout stages, you know, Taylor has been pushed all the way in the knockout stages. He beat Gary Anderson 10-5, but Anderson was better than the scoreline suggests. He squeezed past James Wade and put up a great performance. He had to see off a brilliant effort from Adrian Lewis, so he's been pushed all the way. Not in the final so far.
Third 180 of the match. 2 for Taylor. Under all sorts of pressure. Got to get another 60.
140.
Superb darts. Really worked. Needed every point as well. Wayward. Well, the second and third darts, they hurt Robert Thornton.
161.
You feel, Stu, that this might have to go.
But he's given himself a chance if Taylor misses.
If Phil Taylor misses, you say. Now, treble 20 or 20. Double 5 now. If he misses, you say. I'm afraid he didn't. Phil Taylor leads Robert Thornton in the final of the Grand Slam, 8-2. Looked like a mini revival. Didn't pan out that way. Join us after the break to see who wins this Grand Slam.
Here in Wolverhampton it would be for the 5th time in this competition. Rod Stubb with John Part watching the action from the Civic Hall. And it's a familiar tale, John, isn't it? An underdog unable to handle Phil Taylor on the big stage in the big final.
Yes, and maybe a little bit finding the format hard, playing earlier in the day and at about 100 average the whole way, and now a 90 average to this point in the final. So I guess if Robert Thornton could find a way to summon up the game he had earlier in the day, he could stand a chance of getting some legs back. I don't know how realistic a win is looking.
140.
Well, that would have helped. Yes, he averaged 101 against Scott Waits in the semi-final. He hit 8 180s. He hasn't been able to get anything like that. The first leg rather told a story. Robert Thornton missed 9 darts to break the Phil Taylor throw. Phil Taylor went out in 22 darts. That's a collector's item. 22 dart leg, and he went on to roll into a 5-0 lead, and it's very difficult to drag Phil Taylor back from 5-0.
No, that was unfortunate. He looked much better than that. But, Taylor could go for 12 or treble. It's a bull is the chance for the out.
56. Robert, you require
121. Maybe Robert Thornton's taking a wander down memory lane, because this is what he took out to beat Phil Taylor in the UK Open in 2012. Treble 17, left the bull. Left it again. And he has hit it again. Well, last summer he did that to win against Phil Taylor. This time he's done it just to stay in the match. He's 8-3 down.
And it's a long time coming, but it's the first break of throw for Robert. Exactly what you need. Get the break of throw number down. The differential, that is.
Phil Taylor led James Wade 8 legs to 2 in the quarter-final, and in the end got a little bit twitchy, didn't it, late on in that game? Wade was threatening to reel him back in, so Thornton has got to summon up a similar kind of performance to Wade. Just hang on in there, hope that Taylor misses the odd double, hope his scoring drops off a bit.
Yeah, and you just never know, because it's obvious they're both a bit weary compared to their semi-final matches. I mean, to play these 2 matches in a day of this length, that's a lot longer than playing a World Championship final. So it is draining. The concentration required for the length of time, it's massive.
Yeah, both players played 25 legs this afternoon, and if they were to play another 25 tonight for a grand total of 50, that is a World Championship final in terms of distance, isn't it?
59.
But the added challenge of a day like today is it's spaced out over, what, 8-9 hours. And to keep your brain in gear, often very difficult. So many distractions.
Another red bit to leave 72 would be very handy.
He'll require 127.
We're going to find the treble 19 to leave the bull. Thornton hit.
in the last leg, and Taylor is millimetres away.
Robert, you require 72.
All but hit it. But Robert, really good chance here. 16 for tops. Tops for another.
52. Phil, we require 25.
The kind of chance we all know you've got to take against this man now. Looking at double 8. Well, he almost hit treble 9 there, which would have been highly embarrassing.
You could say he was a little bit fortunate on that one. He wasn't as close as to get an awe or anything, but he was well aware. He was well aware that he was that close. Maybe gave him a little adrenaline boost to get his focus up for the double, though. Sometimes that helps. A little slap.
Phil Taylor has won 26 consecutive televised darts matches in major championship. His own record is 30. So if he wins here tonight and goes on to reach at least the semi-finals at the Alexandra Palace, or at the Minehead, the Players' Championship, should I say, he will have broken that record. It's a remarkable run, isn't it? 26 consecutive wins.
100.
Fantastic. Now, and Phil, he's had a long, hard week and a hard day, and he's more than halfway past here. His dart sat nav is telling him 7 more legs to your destination.
They do malfunction, those devices, occasionally, though, John. He'll be hoping it keeps it straight on to number 16.
Well, sometimes traffic situations arise.
140. Phil, we require 161.
He wants the 20s first. We'll go for the shot. Robert on 127, but not on now. And it's kind of a break chance, decent break chance, not a fantastic one. We know he likes the bull, so let's see if he can do this again. 20s. Well, treble 19 would leave the bull. Now he's got 100, so the treble 20, leave tops.
47.
Either way, you figure it's pretty unlikely this man will miss the 25 in tops. Perfection so far. And continue. 6 legs until your destination.
He's into double figures. He's 6 away. And handing out another heavy hiding in the Grand Slam final. 2007 he beat Andy Hamilton 18-11. 2008 Terry Jenkins 18-9. 2009 Scott Waits obliterated 16-2, and then 2011 Gary Anderson blown away 16-4. So this is nothing new or nothing strange on this stage.
You know, Phil doesn't ever get bored of it, though. I think he enjoys a really good match. He really does. And obviously today in the semi was one of those. Even though the score, he still pulled away at the end. But you know, Phil loves his darts, but he does love to win big.
Robert Thornton did have those 2 wins over Phil Taylor last year, the UK and then the Grand Prix, when Taylor missed a couple of match darts to beat him. But then when they met, when it really matters, in the World Championship last 16, 4-0 in sets to Phil Taylor, and Robert Thornton only won 3 legs in the entire match. He doesn't forget either, does he?
No, and you know, Robert has done fairly well against Phil in the last couple of years, and some tour things here and there, and maybe 50-50ish. And you know, Phil knows that, so he wants to send a clear message this time around. He wants to he wants to leave Robert at 3. So the next time he plays him, maybe it'll be easier for him. And what's the 140 to leave 36?
140. Phil, we require 160.
Well, it would be no surprise with Thornton waiting on double for this to go. For this to go. Bull! Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's almost as if it seems when his opponent has left something very, very handy, like a double, that Taylor just ups the ante, ups the power.
Yeah, I think it's CGI, Rod. I'm pretty sure it's CGI. I don't know what they're doing in the truck, but this can't be happening for real.
Well, in this afternoon's game against Adrian Lewis left it handy. Phil Taylor went out on 167. Adrian Lewis missed tops for a 160. Phil Taylor immediately took out 160. And that just drives you mad when you stood behind him, doesn't it? Just drives you mad. Thornton did everything right there, didn't he, to leave a single dart finish.
Well, yeah, he did. He didn't score enough earlier in the leg, though, so that's the way it goes. You're left on a double without getting a shot. Ultimately, you could have scored more earlier in most cases.
95.
And it doesn't get much crueler than that. 1-6-4 against you with your set on double.
60.
There's a fair amount of head shaking in the crowd. There's been some head shaking in here all afternoon about the sheer quality of what we've witnessed. It hasn't been as sustained tonight, obviously, from Phil Taylor as it was in the Adrian Lewis battle this afternoon. Yeah. But again, that 164.
He's able to summon it from somewhere, like a genie out of a bottle. Bang, it's out.
He just, when he's challenged, he ups it. As you know, John, from that 2003 final, you had to
97.
Keep at the very peak because you knew he was going to keep back at you and keep pulling things out all the time and keep on your tail even though you led.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's the ultimate darts machine. He doesn't give up. And if there's something he wants, it's to do something no one's ever done. And he's not in a comeback position very often, but believe me, if he's in a bad situation, he wants to come back and have people talk about it.
54.
There's just about nothing he hasn't done. So it's treble 10 for Robert, 16 for tops. This could be a break. Well, that's good composure there. Robert Thornton says, yes, I'm still here. Doesn't look good, but I'm not giving up.
Well, Robert Thornton has upped his game a bit, John, hasn't it? His average has come, as saying, from 90 to 95, but it's not enough, is it?
Could have been, but for the great train robbery there. That was just a fantastic 164 out, and it's huge. The value of it is probably the title.
85.
I mean, it just ended any question, I think, of what's going to happen here. And it sends a message to Robert that Phil can still, when he needs to, hit any big shot. And that is disconcerting as an opponent.
140.
Well, all of Phil Taylor's previous final wins in this tournament, he had a ton-topping average, so he needs to just crank it up a little bit to continue that.
140.
He's 1.5 behind three figures at the moment, which you've come to expect. 98 back in the day, that would have been, you'd have been purring about it, but now it just looks ordinary compared with what Phil Taylor does on a regular basis and what he and Adrian Lewis did this afternoon.
$140.
Still a little bit behind in the leg.
96. Robert, you require 136.
No urgency without Phil on a finish. You can't steal without a finish. Needs another treble for a double 8. 16 will leave tops, and
96.
he knows he'll come back for this one. It would really be CGI to finish 205. That's it.
Past him these days.
Robert, you require 40.
Treble 15, quadruple 20, quadruple 20. Double 20 here for Thornton. Double 10. Yes.
Aim shot and a 16th
Very good leg that from Robert Thornton, in all fairness.
17th leg,
Very
Phil to
authoritative.
throw first.
With that, he validated his break of throw of Phil. from before the break. You have to hold after you break, or it's really quite meaningless.
136.
Robert, he's still 3 breaks to throw down in the match, so no better time than now to try and
100.
get one. His time is not on his side.
You would expect him to put one on top of that from that lie that was outside the treble, and he's not only done that, he's put 2 on top of it.
$95.
Phil Taylor has already won
140.
virtually every big prize this year, with the exception of the Premier League, World Championship, Match Play, Grand Prix, UK, the Masters. The Premier League eluded him when Michael van Gerwen went out and won 3-2, and had he missed that
Do we require
big finish,
85?
fair chance Phil Taylor would have won that as well. He was looking to level the match and had to throw in the last leg. Now needs 3 to split the 35. Double 16. Wires it,
53.
but will be back.
I think Robert just trying to get some pressure here, not giving up.
140.
It's probably about a 1 in 20 chance of Phil missing this out. Double 16 is it? There it is.
Shot and a 17th leg. Phil Taylor.
That was one of the
18th leg
19
Robert
of the
to
20.
throw first. Game on.
Relentless, ruthless, will not ease up, will not coast to the finishing line. Phil Taylor
140.
has the ability, the mental capacity just to play every leg, this the 18th, like it's the first.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he's only counting his own legs. He's ignoring everything Robert does at this point because he has a
59.
safety net of a lead. So all he really is doing is counting down the legs, and he's 4 away, and that's what he's thinking about. Win 4 legs, and I'm done.
Another title, and he'll trouser another
131.
£100,000 also.
And to that point, I mean, Phil will not be all that bothered that, you know, he loses a couple of legs here and there.
96.
If it ever gets to be like 3 in a row, then he'll have his attention fixed on that problem.
How about 3 in a row in this sense?
140.
Yeah, they've got the Players' Championship, as you mentioned, coming up, but then it's the one that he craves above everything else. Every other title he desires, he devours, but it's that World Championship, by which he's defined really 16 World Championships, and now he won 17,
90.
and then if he gets that, he'll won 18 and 19 and 20. 225s leaves 40. Brilliant finish.
Shot in the 18th play.
He's probably playing
Thornton.
his best darts of the match. In fact, not even probably, he is playing his best darts of the match, Robert
to
Thornton.
throw first. Game on.
Well, when you fall behind, you get to a point psychologically where you kind of have nothing to lose because you pretty much figure, everyone figures you're about to lose, and so you relax a bit and you start to get a more fluent
85.
style. And he's brought his average up to 98, almost level with Phil. Of course, the legs, he only has half of them, so
100.
that's the big dilemma, the 3 break difference.
Yeah, he's now won effectively exactly a third of the legs, Robert Thornton.
$97.
Which is actually his best chunk of a percentage of legs in the entire final, so he has at least kept it respectable.
100.
The first session is where the damage has been done. 5-0 to Phil Taylor at the end of one session, and now 6 in front, so the gap is staying about the same, and as you said, John, if it just keeps winning one and Thornton wins one, you know, it's just going to gradually reach an inexorable conclusion.
Well, yeah, Phil, the worst guy on earth to give a lead too early.
100.
There aren't many people that can come back against Phil. I can think of Adrian in the Grand Prix semi-final. A fantastic effort, but those are pretty rare occasions. Barney, World Championship final. But,
125.
again, very rare.
Yeah, the more you look back on that final, the more incredible it seems. He was 3-0 down. In no time, Phil Taylor had taken out a 1-6-7 finish, and there seemed to be nothing
60.
at the Circus Tavern that night for Barney. But
Phil, you require
Au contraire.
98.
98 then for Phil Taylor to go 13-6 in front. Up to go down to double 19. Yes, use the barrel, use the
And
line.
a 19th leg.
13-6.
Phil Taylor. 20th leg, Robert to throw first. Game on.
Well, Phil's already thinking about getting a break here
85.
after watching the first two darts. He doesn't care about that triple. He can get himself well ahead here.
How right you are, John.
140.
Yeah, that 140 still puts him 55 ahead. You know, it's one excellent dart ahead.
14 180s this afternoon. Another
35.
bounce out for Robert Thornton. 14 180s for Phil Taylor this afternoon. Just a brace tonight. Yeah, 3 180s in the match. I think we had that. Well, we did have that in one leg several times in the Lewis
99.
Phil Taylor semi-final.
And trains of 180s. Car after car.
85.
It was truly incredible. If you do get the opportunity to watch that Lewis Taylor game again, I suggest you take it. Utterly amazing.
136.
But this amazing man, Phil Taylor, is looking like collecting yet another title. He wins roughly 2/3 of the events he enters. As Thornton hits a second maximum to give him a squeak in this leg.
Do you require 126?
19s. Well, he hit the 164 with 19s. You figure he'll get that there. So it's the bull again. 111.
87.
Where'd that come from?
Robbie, you require
Well, I think Thornton was getting
116.
ready to walk off stage, assuming the ball was going to be hit. A nod from the Scot, who leads tops.
96.
Well, what an effort from Thornton. No, hits the 180
39.
to leave 116 and puts the double on the wire. Taylor 7 for double 16. 14-6. Right alongside.
Game Charles in the 20th leg.
And he's giving it all because he has it all. An 8-leg lead and only 2 legs away from the title of Grand Slam champion here in Wolverhampton. We'll be back, and I think Phil thinks it'll be the conclusion.
Collection. Robert Thornton 5-0 down, and it just really hasn't got much better than that for the Scot, who averaged over 100 in defeating Scott Waits in the semi-final, 16 legs to 9, but hasn't been able to replicate that against the Governor. What has Thornton got to do now, John? Is he just got to keep
21st
plugging
leg.
away and just
Phil to
see
throw
what scraps
first.
he can
Game
get
on.
from Phil Taylor's table?
Well, yeah, you know, he just has to keep throwing good darts. He's not given up at all. He keeps trying to play as well as he can and take legs. And I think until you're 1 leg away from getting beaten, you still feel it's a realistic thing you can do. As long as you can keep them 2 legs away, you feel pretty good about it. Not to say it feels good about 14-6, but I mean that there's a chance. There's some sort of a chance.
100.
Well, we've seen some remarkable comebacks. We saw Andy Hamilton come back from 7 behind to beat Simon Whitlock at the World Match Play. We saw Whitlock chuck away a 6-1 lead against Ted Hankey, but not very often that anyone can produce such a comeback, which would be a shock off the sporting Richter scale against Phil Taylor. That's a very different kind of comeback.
Well, it becomes very, very difficult when you can't lose any legs. So, say as long as he's fills at 14, Robert will be figuring there's a chance.
134.
Well, he will be at 15 pretty quickly, because the reality is he knows. Well, I was going to say he knows he's got 6 darts from there. Another treble means he hasn't actually officially got 6 darts from there.
Yeah, I don't know why he went that way, because if he hits 2 treble 20s, he only needs a single 18 to leave a finish. So starting on the 18s there isn't too clever. He cost himself having an outshot opportunity.
96.
Which means, whatever he does here, Phil Taylor is coming back for that 75. With very little pressure.
43.
No pressure, really.
Phil requires
75. Double 17 leaves, double 12 then.
It's tops to get 1 leg away.
35.
The rare miss.
Require 152.
It's going to take a huge steal for Thornton. 2 treble 20s and a double 16. No.
92.
Robert looks as though he's packed it in.
Phil require 40.
Well, we have seen 4 ton-plus finishes, 2 from either player, but it wasn't to be a 5th. Double 10 then for Phil Taylor. No bother. And he knows, as well as we know, and everyone packed into Pacific Hall knows, that Phil Taylor now is just 1 leg away from yet another title, yet another televised major.
140.
Only 2 180s for Phil Taylor. 27 treble 19s in this match, so he's been, well, his old friend down there, the old green bit at the bottom of the board, he loves that.
$125.
Well, I'm pretty sure Robert doesn't want to lose the match on his own throw. It's a matter of dignity.
140.
And it's inexorable now, the march to victory. And such as Phil Taylor's dominance been over the last few weeks, that bookmakers now prepare to offer even money only against
69.
the 17th World Championship at Alexandra Palace. And plenty will be willing to risk their hard-earned, if indeed it is a risk anymore, backing Phil Taylor.
100. Robert, you require 167.
Both on a double bull finish. Or, sorry, 2 treble the bull finish. Maybe I'd like to see some exhibition darts to finish it off from Phil. He won't be finishing this with any doubles. It'll be a treble 20, a treble 17, and a bull.
Well, a shake of the head. I think he wanted to finish with some fireworks, John.
Robert, you require 83.
Still, 64 will do just as well when he comes back, if Thornton can't mop up. 16 leaves bull.
$58.
So this could be it.
Phil, you require 64.
Double 8 for Phil Taylor to be crowned the Grand Slam champion. And he is wonderful in Wolverhampton again. Phil Taylor is the Grand Slam champ for a 5th time. A demolition of Robert Thornton, who never got a sniff. Phil Taylor went into a 5-0 early lead and just nursed that lead home to romp to victory by 16 legs to 6. It really was as comfortable as that for the 16 times world champion. Robert Thornton's had a very good week here, and his semi-final performance over Scott Waite was absolutely excellent when he averaged over 100, but couldn't repeat it tonight. There is the tail of the tape. Phil Taylor didn't need one of his stratospheric ton-topping averages himself. 98 was all he needed. A couple of 180s, but that 164 outshot was highly significant. He had a 1-2-1 as well. And it was more than enough to be crowned champion once more for a fifth time here at the Civic Hall. Okay, let's go to the presentation on the big stage, and let's join our MC. He's John McDonald.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've had an amazing week, and now it's time for the presentation. Would you please welcome, on behalf of the Professional Darts Corporation, the Chief Executive, Matthew Porter, and on behalf of our title sponsors, William Hill, the UK Marketing Director, Alex O'Shaughnessy. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, the runner-up receiving £50,000 and the trophy. And that goes to Robert Thornton. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner, receiving £100,000, the magnificent trophy, but most important of all, the title of William Hill, Grand Slam of Darts Champion 2013, Phil the Power Taylor!
Phil, congratulations.
Thank you.
Shouting easy, easy, easy.
It wasn't easy, trust me.
It was quite a tough day at the office, wasn't it, one way or another?
It's been very tough today. Obviously the final was not as good as what both semis were, but we both tried. It's been a long day today.
We're singing there's only one Phil Taylor.
There is.
Fifth time you've won the Grand Slam.
Thank you.
It's been quite a day with the fight with Adrian Lewis and then going into this.
I think the game against Adrian is probably, I don't know, but probably the best game I've ever played in my career. And I will probably say the same for Adrian. It was a belter, it really was.
Wayne, the valiant loser.
Robert, it was the start. The 5-0 at the start, was that the killer blow for you?
Yeah, I missed doubles at the start, didn't we? But hey, we're one major each now. We've played each other in the final twice. We're one each.
Your form coming into this was superb, but your form going out of it now for the World Championships, that must be pleasing.
Oh, definitely. It's a lot better, isn't it? Yeah, I'll take that any day.
Ended up 97 average. It wasn't a bad performance, but as you quite rightly said, you just walked into Phil playing as well as what he normally does.
Yeah, I missed a couple of doubles at the start. Phil took advantage, and any other dart player would. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them things.
You've had a fantastic week, and commiserations, but also well done.
I'm not kidding. The back managers will be happy.
Phil, a word about this crowd. They've been brilliant all week and given you some terrific support.
They've been fantastic, and that look there, you're mad. I think they're Stokies, I'm not sure, but I think there's a lot from Stoke. But thank you for supporting everybody. You've been fantastic, you really have. Thank you.
And is it a case of watch out, World Championship, here I come?
Well, the World Championships, I think everybody's getting ready for that. You've seen this week, everybody, Wayne, myself, Adrian, everybody's going to be ready for it. So it's going to be a tough World Championship.
Congratulations on winning the William Hill Grand Slam, fifth time. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil the Power Taylor. More reaction after the break, and we'll show you what happened in the semi-final. That epic match between Lewis